and welcome to day 2 of 2021's Vlogmas. Today's video is my December TBR. It's my books that I plan to read in December. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24, which would be ideal because there's 24 days on the run up to Christmas. So do you reckon I could do one a day until then? Who knows? First of all, let's start as I mean to go on with the rest of Vlogmas with my Christmas jumper. This is a new Christmas jumper, hashtag ad PR product. I think that's what you're supposed to say. Joanie Clothing were kind enough to send me this jumper. It is so soft and so cozy. It's got this little baby reindeer on with a little Christmassy red bow underneath it, around his neck. I did also put an additional collar on, but the collar was hanging over the little deer's face, and I thought, no, we'll leave it just out like this. So soft, so warm. Merry Christmas. Let's start with the books then. I've also got a cup of tea. This is a spiced pear tea. It's gonna be too hot. Confirmed it is too hot. So as I said, I've got 24 books here and 24 days between now and Christmas. I'm currently, should we start with the ones that I'm currently reading? Okay, yeah, that's good because these are library books. So all of them are new books, aside from 3, which maybe I'll lead with after these 3. No, I won't. I'll leave those till the last so that if you want, if you get to the end of the video, congrats, you'll get to see 3 from last year. If not, they're all new ones, and I've just pulled a little hole in my tights, so that's what a great way to start. Now, the first one is going to be the first book that I read in December. Well, at least I'm going to finish an audiobook today, a Christmas audiobook today. I'm filming this on the 1st of December, so this is going to be the first physical book I read because it's got a fastback 2-week loan on from the library, so it means that it needs to get back within 2 weeks. This is not my ordinary kind of book. I never really read women's contemporary fiction, and when I do, I don't really like it. However, I read 20 pages of this today when I was sat in a cafe, and I quite liked it. It's the Christmas Bookshop by Joanie Clothing. I love Christmas and I love bookshops. Can I enjoy them together? Now, it seems to me, as is the case with women's contemporary fiction, a lot of the focus seems to be on like getting yourself a man or getting a new look. It looks as though the focus of this is like sisters reconnecting, which I'm quite into, so quite looking forward to that. Yeah, hopefully it stays as good as the first 20 pages have been, because then I'll be into it. So that's what I'm currently reading. I'll put that over there so I don't return it with my books, because I'm going to have a bath in a minute and enjoy that. Then I've got Carol by Patricia Highsmith. I can't believe I've never read it. Do you want to come a bit closer? No, I'll leave you as you are. I can't believe I haven't read any Patricia Carroll before. I can't believe I haven't read any Patricia Highsmith before. And I believe that this is slightly Christmassy, so it's not a Christmas book, but I think it might be set, I mean, nothing alludes to this being, but I remember hearing about it. I think it's set in the run up to Christmas, and it's like a queer love story, isn't it? It's got it's got a foreword from Val McDermid. I'm just seeing if there's anything, if I can scan and see anything about Christmas at all. I'm sure, oh yeah, here we go. I think this is set in the run up to Christmas, but yeah, I've got that out from the library as well. That doesn't go there, that goes here. Then I've got a tiny little board book. So I've included board books in here and picture books and things. Because I will read these at some point. Whether or not I include them in my actual reading, I mean, I should do, really, shouldn't I? But this is by Emma Yartlett, and previously I've bought Emma Yartlett's books for my goddaughter and my niece and my friend's children. Santa Post is one of hers, and then Monster something, really, really great. And then I saw this was out at the library, and I just stuck a reservation on it, and yeah, I very much enjoy it. I very much enjoyed sort of like flicking through, and when my niece comes around, we'll read that together. So those are the library books. Then we've got, so then I think I'll work this way. There's just so many, guys, I just don't know where to go from. So then I've got Skipping Christmas by John Grisham. So I've read this before, so this isn't one of the 3 that I mentioned that I'd read before. But David and I are going to do book versus film this Vlogmas season, whereby I will sit and read Skipping Christmas, and David will start watching the film Christmas with the Cranks, which is what Skipping Christmas is based on, and we'll just go and see who ends first. It's not really a race, it's more of a sort of like after an hour we compare and see what's happened and things like that, so that'll be happening. This I'm also excited about. There's so many of them. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll read this next, maybe I'll read this next. Then I've got Pride and Prejudice and Misteltoe by Melissa de la Cruz, which, as you can imagine, is a retelling of Pride and Prejudice set at Christmas, and it's also been gender swapped. So Darcy Fitzwilliam is a woman, and she falls for who is it? Luke Bennett, who is the oldest of 5 sons, oldest of 5 brothers. So yeah, it's been gender swapped. So very excited about that. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Then I've got my Patreon book club book. Do you like me getting them off of this tray here? This is unusual, isn't it? Normally I have a big stack of them. Then I've got my Patreon book club book, which is Stay Another Day by Juno Dawson. This is a sort of, it's for young adults, but it says not suitable for younger readers. But I think it's a sort of thriller. It's got adult themes in there and sort of like maybe stuff that's a little bit potentially too heavy for younger readers in terms of, I think there's eating disorders and stuff like that. But I love the tagline of 4 sleeps till Christmas, 3 secretive siblings, 2 hot house guests and 1 juicy secret. So yeah, it sounds like it's a bit sort of gripping and maybe a thriller or some sort of aspect of that going on there. So that's exciting too. Then I only received this in the post yesterday, so this hasn't been this hasn't even appeared on a haul yet, and this has been sent for me from somebody wonderful on my wish list, so I thank you so much. And this is Christmas by the Book by Anne-Marie Ryan, and this is about, I'll read you the blurb because I put a few, basically I saw, oh, Christmas and books, yeah, I'll have that, and it does look lovely. It's also got a quote by Joanie Clothing, who wrote the Christmas Book Club on it, and she said it was heartfelt and lovely, so hopefully I'll find it heartfelt and lovely too. Nora and Simon have run the British oak-beamed bookshop in their British village. Beautiful. I've used the word British twice then. Nora and Simon have run the beautiful oak-beamed bookshop in their British village for nearly 30 years, but times are tough and the shop is under a threat of closure. This holiday season will really decide their fate. When an elderly man visits the store and buys one book they've never been able to sell, it gives Nora an idea. She and Simon will send out books to those feeling down this time of year and lift people's spirits through the power of reading. I'm all for that. The couple quietly deliver books to residents in need of festive cheer, including a single dad trying to make ends meet, a teenage boy grieving for his sister, a local politician battling depression, and a retired teacher living on her own. The books begin to give the recipients hope one by one, but with the future of the bookshop still on the line, Nora and Simon will need a Christmas miracle to find a happy ending of their own. So yeah, there we go. And I'll tell you what, this is from the US, so this is written by a US author, whether or not they're British, but it looks as though it's published in the US. Where can I find out about the author? Tell me about yourself, Anne-Marie Ryan. Has it got anything about Anne-Marie Ryan in the back? Here we go. She works as a book editor in the UK and has written several successful Christmas fiction series under a variety of pseudonyms. Oh, she is US based. So I did, oh, it's got discussion questions in the back as well. So I did wonder that because last year I read The Royal Holiday, which was set in the UK, but filmed, but written by US author, blah, 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 blah. And there was words in here. So for example, like, I don't think I'd ever refer to a village in the UK as a British village. Like, I would be like, oh, it's an English village or it's a Scottish village. Hold on. David, did you get the door? Oh, he did. Or a Scottish village, or a Northern Irish village, or a Welsh village. And also, we just don't call it the holiday season here. So yeah, I'm excited to read this because it's bookish from Christmas, but also because I had such a lovely time reading the Royal Holiday last year, like UK-based Christmas experience through a US eyes. So further excited about that. Then the next one, again, this hasn't appeared in a haul yet. So this is one that I received earlier this week. I filmed a video with Book Break. Actually, that video is going up today, so head on over to the Book Break channel after this, and myself and Emma, who run the Book Break channel, we filmed a Christmas gift guide, and she gifted me a book. Spoiler, it was this one. So this is Carol Ann Duffy Christmas Poems. If you've been here for a while, you'll remember that every year I like to read these Christmas poems, and I've bought myself little books of them every single year and love them. So this year they're all in one lovely set, which is great because it means that I can sort of just sit and plop through them rather than the individual ones. So yeah, my favourite one, which I've just opened the page on, is Another Night Before Christmas, but they're wonderful long form poems, and all of them have different illustrators who've worked with Carol Ann Duffy to write them, and yeah, they're just beautiful. So I'm very much looking forward to reading that. Then I've got A Christmas in the Alps by Melody Carlson. Now this is a Christmas novella, and it actually, so it looks as though Melody Carlson writes Christmas novellas, because there's praise for Melody Carlson's Christmas novellas written on the back. So this is about Simone Winthrop, and she discovers a tantalising letter from her great-grandmother which seems to suggest that Simone is heir to a family treasure. Ever practical, Simone assumes the claim is baseless, but her best friend encourages her to find out Sure. Despite her deep-rooted fear of flying, she boards a jet and travels to Paris at Christmas time to uncover the truth. And then when she's on the flight, she meets a chap who's on his way to France to become an apprentice clockmaker. Though they abruptly part ways, an unexpected rendezvous in the French Alps at Simone's family's clock factory may lead to the discovery of a family treasure and much more. I imagine romance. So there we go. Then I've got Anton de Beck's A Christmas to Remember. This is set in London in 1938 in a hotel, and we're looking at Nancy Nettleton, who is a fiercely independent chambermaid, what's on her mind is getting to London and getting a job and getting working, and then she's surprised to find that she falls for the debonair dancer Raymond de Guise. Anton de Beck is a dancer on Strictly Come Dancing. Actually, he's a judge on Strictly Come Dancing now. So yeah, so this sounds a bit Downton Abbey-ish. I really like books set in hotels because I think sort of like the passing of... Oh, actually, it starts with a list of all the characters. There's 2 pages worth. So yeah, I think there might be a little map at the front as well there, is there? No. Well, it just says, together with our families... Oh, there we go. So that's a spoiler straight away. Miss Nancy Nettleton and Mr. Raymond de Guise are pleased to invite you to join us for our wedding ceremony. So we know that starts there. Exciting. So that's that. Then... No, I'll keep going because they're the 3 books that I'm going to talk about at the end because I mentioned them last year. Then I've got A Scandinavian Christmas, which is Festive Tales for a Nordic Noel. Look at the cover of this bad boy. So this is, as you would suspect, a Scandinavian collection of Christmas tales. So there's all sorts from all over Scandinavia. A Legend of Mercy by Zacharias Topelius. So some which will be highly familiar, I imagine, to the Scandinavia among you. Oh, so like names I actually know as well, like Hans Christian Andersen, The Fir Tree. Oh, I don't need to flick through because they're all at the front here. So yeah, and it tells you what country they're from. So for example, the one I mentioned earlier, A Legend of Mercy by Zacharias Topelius is from Sweden. Hans Christian Andersen is Danish, so there's ones there. And yeah, it just looks like it's going to be lovely. A few by Hans Christian Andersen as well. The Little Match Girl and The Brave Tin Soldier. There's one called Christmas Eve, which I may well read on Christmas Eve. So that will be one that I dip in and out of as the month goes by. Then I've got, so this is more set in the run up to Christmas, a bit like I mentioned Carol earlier. This is The Strays of Paris by Jane Smiley. And this is about Paris, who's a spirited young racehorse living in a stable in the French countryside. That is until one afternoon when she pushes open the gates of her stall and travelling through the night arrives quite by chance in the dazzling streets of Paris. And then she meets other animals and they sort of form a little crew together. And it says here, as the cold winter of Christmas nears, the unlikeliest of friendship blooms among the strays of Paris. So yeah, so that's a winter one. I'll probably leave that towards the end of the month because I can still read that after Christmas has happened. And then I've got 2 picture books, both of which again sent to me by lovely wishlist people. I've got The Christmas Pine by Julia Donaldson and Victoria Sandoy. Julia Donaldson is a highly hyped children's author who's written a whole host of wonderful children's books, and this is her new Christmas book, and it's got some beautiful illustrations in there. And I'm really looking forward to getting into it. I don't really want to get too much into it because there's not that much words in there. And then, this is exciting. So this is Where Snow Angels Go by Maggie O'Farrell, who you may well recall her name as the author of, amongst other things, Hamnet, which won the Women's Prize for Fiction this year. This year? No, last year. Piranesi won this year. God, I was having to reminisce. And it's illustrated by Daniela Jaglenka Terrazini. Now this is sort of, I would say, a children's book, a picture book for older readers, just because there's a lot more font on there, or maybe one that you might want to read to a child. But yeah, it says here, the end papers are just absolutely gorgeous, as is the case with Christmas books. When you make an angel in the snow, it is yours forever. One night, Sylvie wakes to find her room filled with silver light, her furniture covered with frost, and an unusual visitor standing beside her bed. Is it possible that something extraordinary, something magical has happened? Could this be the same angel she made last winter in the snow? The snow angel has returned to her with enormous feathery wings and icy blue robes. What Sylvie doesn't know is that she's in grave danger and that the angel is here on a mission to save her life. So yeah, sounds wintry as opposed to Christmassy, but the illustrations are beautiful. This front cover's lovely, and it sounds, I mean, I love Maggie O'Farrell's writing, so I'm going to be very into that. Then if we move down to Bottomland, I'm going to get Bottomland out because they're a bit of an awkward angle. Let's get Bottomland. I'd like to visit Bottomland. Okay, so Similar to the Scandinavian Christmas collection, I've got the Penguin Book of Christmas Stories, which is edited by Jessica Harris, and this is a beautiful, this would be such a lovely gift, naked cloth bound, with gorgeous collection of stories. Let's have a look and see which ones we've got in there. So it says here, from Hans Christian Andersen to Angela Carter. So lots of exciting things in here, lots of things I haven't heard of before, so I'm excited about that. Dancing Dan's Christmas by Damien Runyon, The Necklace of Pearls by Dorothy L. Sayers, One Christmas Eve by Langston Hughes, Ray Bradbury, The Gift, I might have read that before, Truman Capote, A Christmas Memory, another one called Christmas Eve. Oh, Laurie Lee, A Cold Christmas Walk in the Country. I read a Laurie Lee book when I was at school, so that'll be interesting. Tove Jansson, Christmas, a gorgeous collection. It sounds like it's going to be absolutely beautiful. And that's another one that I'll sort of dip in and out as the weeks go by. The days and the weeks go by. Then I've got a non-fiction book that I bought myself. At Christmas We Feast, Festive Food Through the Ages by Annie Gray. And this is, I think this is basically what it says. I'm really hoping it's going to be excitable and what it says on the tin in terms of sort of like the history of how we got to where we are with Christmas dinners and everything. I think a lot of, particularly in the UK, a lot of the Christmas dinner traditions are based in they started in Victorian times and things like that, so I'll be interested to find out when this starts. It's also signed by the author. I didn't realise she's done a whole host of, oh god, she wrote the official Downton Abbey cookbook, so I'll probably really enjoy that. So she's done lots of sort of like non-fiction food writing, which I'm very into. It looks as though it's interspersed with like recipes and stuff like that. Oh god, it goes really far back. 1723 for wine chocolate. Not sure how I feel about wine chocolate, but yes, very much looking forward to that. On the same day I bought that, I also bought this, The Very Merry Murder Club. This is edited by Serena Patel and Robin Stevens, and this is 13 winter mysteries in here. This is a middle grade book, and some of the authors on the back that I recognise are Elle McNichol. I think Elle McNichol might be the only one, so that's exciting to me that I've got a whole host of other authors to get into, and they're set out like little case studies. This is called The Christmas Heist by Abiola Bello, and then throughout they have like little illustrations and things like that. So I think I'm going to be really into this because I'm listening to at the moment a Nancy Drew audiobook. I haven't mentioned any audiobooks in here that I'm planning on reading because there's just so many. I'm listening to a Nancy Drew one at the moment, and I quite like sort of like murder. I quite like mystery things that are YA or middle grade, because I enjoy solving them. Sometimes I feel like adult mysteries or murder mystery and things like that cases are a bit more complex, but I'm quite on board with like solving them as they go. So yes, looking forward to that as well. Then I've got, Then I've got Midnight in Everwood by M.A. Kuznier. Now this is based on the Nutcracker, which is a story I'm not familiar with. I actually thought I'd included here. I haven't got it here. Something else I want to read. I've got a beautiful pop-up Nutcracker book, because I'm not familiar with the story of the Nutcracker, so I'm going to read that first. I don't know where that is. It must be with my other books that I've got to send back to storage. I will make sure I don't. I'm going to read that first and then move on to this, which is set in Nottingham in 1906, and it follows Mariette Estelle, who longs to be a ballerina, but as Christmas draws nearer, her dancing days are numbered. She must marry and take up her place in society in the new year. But when a mysterious toy maker, Dr. Drosselmeyer, purchases a neighbouring townhouse, it heralds the arrival of magic and wonder in Mariette's life. So yeah, I don't know how much that if you're familiar with the Nutcracker, that might sound very familiar to you, but it does not to me. So yeah, it says a spellbinding reimagining of the Nutcracker, so that's exciting. And then the last two before I move on to the ones that I've mentioned before, are the Christmas Carrolls. So this was also up for the vote on our Patreon book club, but this was David's pick, my one won. And this is a middle grade book about a fantastically festive family who celebrate Christmas all year round. Always have done, very on board with it, and then they move and they go to a new school, and her name is Holly because that's a Christmas name obviously, and it's about her settling into a new school and still being like the Christmas family, and what that's like as sort of readjusting. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And again, illustrated. Actually, the illustrations look very, very similar to that. Oh no, it's not. I was like, the illustrations look similar to the Merry Murder Club, but they're not. This is illustrated by Selam Sanu. So there we go. And then I've got The King and the Christmas Tree by A.N. Wilson, and this is illustrated by Alexis Bruchon, and it says here, a true story of courage, kindness and wartime friendship, and this has got very sort of like London illustrations, Christmas illustrations. So there it's Trafalgar Square with a big Christmas tree. And yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this as well. I was going to show you another illustration then, but it was of Hitler, and I thought, that's not very Christmassy, is it? There we go, there's a Christmassy scene set with snow in the background. So that's that. Then, as I said, I've got 3 books that I have previously shown on this channel last year. And actually 4, because I am currently listening to, I said I won't mention any audiobooks, and here I am mentioning an audiobook. I'm currently listening to the audiobook of The Christmas Chronicles by Nigel Slater. This is the book version, but as I said, I'm listening to the audio. And it's just a little excerpt every day about something Christmassy, what might be happening at that time, buying Christmas cards, Christmas candles, making the Christmas cake, and then a recipe attributed to it. And Nigel Slater's writing is just amazing. You've probably heard me talk about this a million times. I'm always going on about it. It is perfect. And then a Christmas tradition David and I have. We always read The Jolly Christmas Postman by Janet and Alan Allberg on Christmas Eve. This is a beautiful book that's a sort of like I said, a Christmas tradition, but this has been going, I wonder when this was published, because I remember this when I was younger. 1991 it was first published, and this is about the Jolly Christmas Postman's route and him delivering the Christmas post, and also has these big envelopes in them, which also have really fun bits that you can get out and are interactive. There's a Christmas card there, there's a board game in there, there's a puzzle and things like that. The artwork is just so retro and nostalgic, love it. But yeah, that's something that we do every year. And then for my book club that I do with my pals in real life, we're reading The Toymakers by Robert Dinsdale. Now this is a proof copy that I got, I think I got it at the Penguin Christmas party. Is it published by Penguin? I can't remember. I'm sure I got it at the Penguin Christmas party many, many years ago. And this was out in 2018, so it's been out for a good long while. And this is about, so it's I would say it's more of a wintry book than a Christmassy book, but it says here, help wanted, are you lost, are you afraid, are you a child at heart, so are we. The Emporium opens with the first frost of winter, sales and stock taking, no experience required, bed and board included. Apply in person at London's premier merchant of toys and childhood paraphernalia, Papa Jack's Emporium, Iron Duke Mews, London W1K. Yeah, it was from Penguin. So yeah, this is one that I've had on my TBR a few times before for Christmas, but never got around to it. I think probably, I don't know, I think probably because I've always thought, oh, that sounds a bit Christmassy rather than, that sounds a bit wintry rather than Christmassy. But yeah, this year I've got to talk about it at book club, so I definitely need to read that. And then the last one is one that I bought last year. I think I bought it in December last year. I remember it appearing in my December book haul, but didn't even get around to, honestly, not even opening it. So me looking at it now is all fresh to me, really. And that's The Little Library Christmas by Kate Young. And actually someone messaged me and said, oh, have you read this? Because you will love it. So this is similar to the Nigel Slater book in that it's excerpts from different books at Christmas and recipes from that book. So for example here they've taken a quote from Persuasion by Jane Austen. On one side table was a table, I'm really adding words in here. On one side was a table occupied by some chattering girls cutting up silk and gold paper, and on the other were trestles and trays bending under the weight of brawn and cold pies, where riotous boys were holding high revel, the whole completed by a roaring Christmas fire which seemed determined to be heard in spite of all the noise of the others. So yeah, it looks great fun, and also like similar to the Nigel Slater, like great food photography throughout, and just like really festive photography and things like that. So yeah, I will get round to reading that. I definitely will. So those are the books that I plan on reading in December. I can't believe, normally I do a lot of sort of like rereading of previous Christmas favourites, but this year the Christmas book market has literally just absolutely blown up. So I'm delighted to be reading all of these. Let me know what you're reading for Christmas. If you read Christmassy books, if you've read any of these, if you plan on reading any of these, would love to hear it. And I'll see you all again soon for another BookTube video, another Vlogmas video tomorrow. Bye!